The number 7 in poppy red. We believe it's the car that Foyt drove in 1971. And then we saw the red, blue, and white number 71 that went by. That was Rick Mears' rookie car in 1978, which he qualified outside front row as a rookie. Just a sign of the times and what was to come over the next 15 years. The amazing Rick Mears. He had 15 starts in the 500. He was on the pole 6 times and on the front row an amazing 11 times. Only 4 times was he not on the front row. Oh, there's a number 64 out there. That was driven by Jimmy Carruthers for his rookie test in 1971. The lead driver on the team was Art Pollard, who qualified early and then ended up getting bumped. And Jimmy Carruthers never had a chance to make a qualifying attempt because they had to come and say, son, we're going to need your car. And Art Pollard drove it in the race. We believe that we saw that one of the cars went by, we believe was the Budweiser McLaren that Johnny Rutherford drove in 1979, and that was the final year for Team McLaren to enter a car. Bruce McLaren, the late Bruce McLaren, was inducted into the Auto Racing Hall of Fame the other night, and so there was some sort of a tribute here today for the late Bruce McLaren. Several McLarens on the track. And the sort of an orange and cream and blue, number 3. There's an orange, cream, and blue number 3 out there. And that was driven in practice in '69 by Al Unser. And it was a 4-wheel drive car. There were actually several 4-wheel drive cars in the 500. 1969 is the last year that they were eligible. That one, unfortunately, did not make it. Once again, we really appreciate all of the people that go to vast expense and organization in order to bring these cars to run them on the track, and we can just sit back and enjoy them. And it brings back quite a few memories for some of us. There were actually, the number 9 that went by, there were actually 2 of those cars. Foyt drove one in the 71 500, and the other was driven by Donnie Allison, who finished 6th, went down to Charlotte the next day. Once again, Donnie Allison had finished fourth in the 1970 500 for Foyt in an eagle, as a matter of fact. And then in 71, sixth in the 500. That was the Aulancer four-wheel drive car. Anyway, back 1971, AJ Foyt team. Donnie Allison drives the second car, sixth in the 500. Next day, he's down at Charlotte for the World 600, finishes second to his brother, and then flies back up to Indianapolis for the victory banquet that night. In 1971, Hugh Downs was here for the race and drove a few laps on a quiet day after qualifying was over, and we believe it might have been that number 64. It's the same team. Gilmore Broadcasting was the sponsor. That was Jim Gilmore before he was involved with Foyt. Indeed, the number 4, that is the last car that Team McLaren entered. Team McLaren entered cars regularly between 1970 and 79. There were other McLarens that were what we call hand-me-downs, but of the works entries from 1970 to 1979. And here's another trivia question, which there are no prizes, and this is a heavy-duty one. Who was the first driver to finish in the top 10 for Team McLaren? So once again, for Team McLaren, not a privately entered McLaren, but for the Team McLaren, who was the first driver to finish in the top 10 for Team McLaren? And the year is 1970, and the driver was Carl Williams from Kansas City. And if you knew that one, give yourself a pat on the back. Other Team McLaren drivers were Peter Revson, Dennis Holm. In 1972, believe it or not, Peter Revson's teammate was Gordon Johncock. And then from 73 to 79, Johnny Rutherford. And then in 74, David Hobbs drove the second McLaren, but it wasn't orange, it was black with Carling Black label sponsorship. And then in 75, I'm sorry? How many years have you been announcing? Oh, I've been on the radio network since 65.
Who won the race in 76?
Ask me when I get off the air. Rutherford. Well, it did get quiet there, but we believe that we have a surprise coming up for you in just a few moments. Once again, Bruce McLaren, who had such an impact on racing around the world, not only with Formula One as a driver and then later a constructor. He was second in the World Championship as a driver to his teammate Jack Brabham in 1960. And then became a constructor, and then in some people's minds, I think they think of McLaren as from the days when they dominated the Can-Am series. With Bruce McLaren, actually the original two were Bruce McLaren and Chris Amon, a fellow New Zealander. And then Dennis Hulme came on board, and they won with such regularity and frequently finished 1-2, it became known as the Bruce and Denny Show. And then, of course, Peter Revson won for Can-Am races for Team McLaren, and Peter Gethin. When they came to the Indianapolis 500 in 1970, the original drivers were Dennis Hulme and Chris Amon, but by the time the race was flagged away, it was Peter Revson and Carl Williams. Bruce McLaren did drive one of the cars during practice, but it was never his intent to drive in the race. And then sadly, he lost his life very shortly thereafter in an accident at Goodwood testing a Can-Am car. Anyway, Bruce McLaren was inducted into the Auto Racing Hall of Fame on Thursday night, as was Dario Franchitti. And Amanda McLaren, Bruce's daughter, was there to accept and is on the grounds today. And so we will see a McLaren presence, and actually we'll see one in the race, because Fernando Alonso is driving in the race with for Andretti, for Michael Andretti, but with a McLaren tie-in, and in fact the car is painted orange, very similar to the color that we remember so well. With Peter Revson on the pole in 71, and Johnny Rutherford winning the 500 in 1974, and in 76, a rain-shortened affair, but a win is a win. And we believe that this is the special surprise. We believe. Yes, indeed. The orange car is the McLaren that won the Indianapolis 500 in 1974. The driver on that day was Johnny Rutherford. The driver that you just saw taking it by us, Johnny Rutherford. The car next to him was also a McLaren, but owned by Team Penske, Cam2 Motor Oil Special, driven in 1977 by Mario Andretti. The driver that you just saw pilot it by, Mario Andretti. The plan was that they would come by twice, but we wanted to make sure it was them. So we believe that we will see them one more time, and then they will be pulling off inside turn one. So two of the great drivers in the history of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Johnny Rutherford and Mario Andretti. So They probably can't hear you unless you yell really loud. But we'll pay tribute to those two great champions of the Indianapolis 500. In fact, not only American racing, but racing in general. Here they come, everybody. Johnny Rutherford and Mario Andretti. So while we just have a moment, let's try this one more time because we love to do this. If you've been coming to the Indianapolis 540 years or more, let's hear some noise. 50 years or more, noise. And then the golf cart going just in front of us is being driven by Parnelli Jones. So you had Rutherford, Mario, and Parnelli. It's hard to make it any better than that. So we're going to wind up here in just a few moments. But again, we thank you all for coming. Thank you for sharing in the passion of the Indianapolis 500. And hopefully some of you still bring your radios with you so you can listen to the broadcast while the race is going on. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bless you all for coming.
If you need to haul cars, motorcycles, ATVs, tools, horses, cattle, or any other cargo, there's no better option than an easy towing Featherlight trailer. Featherlight's all-aluminum trailers give you more value for the long haul, with new innovations designed into every trailer. With over 20 years experience building race transporters, we know what it means to protect your cargo. Featherlight has a trailer for you, so visit your local Featherlight dealer today.
Hey kids, do you love racing? Want cool Indianapolis Motor Speedway gear and access to exclusive events?
Then ask your parents to sign you up for the fastest club in town, the IMS Kids Club.
Visit ims.com/Kids Club for more information.
We are the Coors Brewing Company. And our mountain is brewing the world's most refreshing beer. A beer proud enough to wear our name in big, red, scripted letters. That's why we lager, filter, and package cold. Because we believe every climb deserves a refreshing finish. Coors Light, whatever your mountain, climb on.
Coming out to see me this May? Then be sure to check out IMS.com for the latest schedules, driving directions, parking and camping info, plus much more. Start your race day plans today at ims.com/plan your visit.
Before the band separated over unknown creative differences. and reunited 3 decades later for a tour that sold out in 3 minutes. And your Cisco Hybrid Cloud handled millions of ticket orders without breaking a sweat. Before all of this, the experts at CDW orchestrated a Cisco Hybrid Cloud solution. Scalability by Cisco, orchestration by CDW.
Hi, I'm IndyCar driver Joseph Newgarden with a message from Outrun the Sun. If you filled the Indianapolis Motor Speedway to capacity 12 times, you'd have the number of Americans diagnosed with skin cancer every year. Skin cancer is preventable. Join me in pledging to be Sun Smart. Check your UV index on the Weather Channel app and protect your skin by wearing sunscreen, hats, and sunglasses. Learn more about sun safety at outrunthesun.org.
As technology advances in IndyCar, there's more and more inputs and information that have made their way to the steering wheel, and it's a very busy place. On the backside, of course, are the paddles for shifting. Upshift and downshift just takes one single click, but also 2 additional paddles for the clutch. Now keep in mind, because of the diversity of circuits, sometimes you pit on driver's right, sometimes you pit on driver's left. And when you're leaving, that's when it's really tricky to work the clutch, so therefore drivers might want to use either hand. Going to the front of the wheel itself, you can look at the various inputs and display. The shift lights here, they will start yellow, go to green, and then up to red. The idea is you want to pull the shift just before you get to the last light. This is your gear position indicator, and then there's a host of things that happen with the dash, which we'll discuss in a moment. Now the remaining switches, up top there's a weight jacker. So these are only allowed on ovals, but a weight jacker, a couple of clicks here, either left or right. A hydraulic cylinder actually changes the cross weight of the car. It makes a huge difference, especially as the fuel load goes down. Some of these are self-explanatory. The radio button, push to pass, neutral for when you're coming in for a pit stop. On the right-hand side, you have your pit speed limiter. You need to select reverse, reset. That's used when you go into pit lane to reset your display, and then you can change the display of the dash by scrolling through the pages. This particular dash, there's 3 pages that you scroll through. The fuel trim switch here has 8 different positions, and you may have heard radio conversations where they say wheel 8.
Quad 8 there.
And that's because they want you to go to steering wheel 8, because there's another one of these switches inside the car. So if you hear a call, dash 3, there's another switch. It's used predominantly for diagnostics. It's on the dash. The wheel switch here is done for fuel economy. The current dash has 4 lines of information if you count the gear selector. Look what's coming for 2017. A new cutting-edge LCD screen that's completely customizable. You can change the pages, you can do custom alarms. When you make one of the changes on the wheel, you can customize how you want that to display when you make those changes. And there are 48 pages that you could choose from to customize, where there were 3 on the original dash. Now, of course, LCD technology has been around for a long time, so why now in 2017 open up the rulebook for these new displays? Well, it has to do with cost containment. This original system, if you add all these pieces up on a steering wheel, it can add up to nearly $25,000 for this unit. And amazingly, just like upgrading a computer, the new LCD display, amazingly, just the display itself is 1/3 the cost of the original.
Well, good morning, race fans. Welcome to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. In a couple of moments, we're going to be getting our show underway. A couple of announcements. First off, drivers, if you're in the area, please come and take your seat here along the main straightaway to get the drivers in position. It's the hardest job I will have this morning. The other folks who are special guests, please find your seats and get settled in. I have a program coming up where I will have a number of speakers, number of presentations. And then we'll introduce the starting field for the 101st running of the Indianapolis 500. So far, weather-wise, so good. So you folks keep your fingers crossed. And again, drivers, please come to the stage area and settle in, if you would, please. Mary Holman George making her way to the VIP area. Always good to see her. Members of the Holman George family will be here. The drivers are now making their way into the area. Thanks very much, by the way, to Donald Davidson for his terrific description of the old cars that were going around the Speedway. Nobody knows more about those automobiles and this Speedway than Donald. We appreciate it very much. Oh, yeah. Where are we here? Yep. Right here. Good, brother. How are you? So good? Good? That is awesome. Okay, we're ready to go.
Thank you very much. And where does it come after?
This will be Firestone. Will be after. Yes, ma'am. Well, I've got to read all of this ahead of time. So you'll be. Yeah.
That's just kind of a warm-up.
Yeah. You'll be after the Firestone. Gordon Knapp will speak, and then you'll be after him. So you'll have plenty of time.
It'll be clear.
Representative Borg Warner. You'll be there. We're ready. Thank you. Once again, drivers, please make your way to the seating area. We'll get set to get our program underway. Slowly but surely, we're getting the drivers in position. We'll be starting our program momentarily. Again, welcome to the Speedway. Hope most of you will be back tomorrow for the race. Oh, okay. Somebody go up and get that?
Yeah, I think family can. Yep.
Are they all here except him? Well, we're still awaiting the arrival of apparently Mr. Castro Neves. Now he can't find his seat. We're making progress. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Speedway. We got our drivers in position. We're getting our special guest in position. We are glad you are here on this day before the Indianapolis 500. Welcome to the final drivers meeting before the 101st running of the 500 coming up tomorrow. In addition to the drivers meeting, we take this time to award individuals on their deserving accomplishments and celebrate all the legends that have raced here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. At this time, and I think most of them are sitting in the stage left or stage right. I saw Mario just a few moments ago. I'd like to have all the former drivers kind of stand up and be recognized at this particular moment. Big round of applause, Mario. And always great to have the former participants here at the Speedway back in their own backyard, so to speak. Next, I want to recognize a young man, Matthias Laced, the winner of yesterday's Indy Lights Freedom 100 race. He's right here. Matthias set a 2-lap and a single-lap qualifying record yesterday, in addition to winning that race. So, young man with a bright future. Glad to have you here, Matthias. Firestone, as you all know, is the sponsor of the Winning Car Owners Ring, and here to present the ring and announce the Firestone Legends of Indianapolis 500 Award is Mr. Gord Knapp. He is the president and CEO of Bridgestone Americas. Gord?
Thank you, Jerry, and good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here with you this morning as we celebrate the 101st running of the Indy 500. It's been an exciting month of May so far, and Firestone is very proud to continue its long-standing role as the official tire of the Verizon IndyCar Series and, of course, the Indianapolis 500. Our brand involvement in open-wheel racing goes back more than 100 years, when Harvey Firestone first made the decision that racing would be his ultimate proving ground, both for his technology and for his tires. And over that time, Firestone has more victories at the Indy 500 than all other tire manufacturers combined. And tomorrow, the Indy 500 will be won on Firestone tires for the 68th time. Now, each and every year, the Indy 500 delivers on its promise to be the greatest spectacle in racing. And last year was no exception, as Alexander Rossi, a rookie driver in his first season with IndyCar, made history when he won the 100th running of the Indy 500. And it was an incredible victory, and one that wouldn't have happened without the dedication of the team and the strategy call led by Michael Andretti and Brian Herta. The team went all in and made an all-or-nothing call to stretch Rossi's fuel to the finish line and to pull off the upset. Rossi's victory last year was the 4th Indy 500 win for Andretti Autosport, building on Michael's and his family's legendary status in our sport. And of course, Brian Herta has also made an indelible mark on and off the track with wins as a driver and as head of Brian Herta Autosports. But together, they're a formidable team, and no one should be surprised that they steered Rossi to victory at the greatest spectacle in racing. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating Michael Andretti and Brian Herta as I present them with the 2016 Indy 500 Owners Rings.
Congratulations once again. Hi, Michael. In addition, Firestone is proud to present their Legends Day Award. This year, the 2 awards of $10,000 are presented to Steam Sports Group and Next Gen Racers. And here to accept the award from Team Sports Group is John Clam and Bob Dickinson. Congratulations, gentlemen. And also here to accept an award is board member of Next Gen Racers Youth Motorsports, Tracy Barnes. And congratulations again, Tracy. We are, as always, pleased to have with us representatives from our friends at Borg Warner. Borg Warner has sponsored the most coveted prize in auto racing, one of the most prestigious awards in all of sport, the Borg Warner Trophy, right in front of me here. In addition to the sponsorship of the trophy, Borg Warner has presented a replica baby Borg to 2016 Indianapolis 500 winning driver and team owners, Alexander Rossi, Michael Andretti, and Brian Herta. It is my pleasure at this particular time to introduce Scott Gillette, the Vice President of Marketing for Borg Warner, as he makes the presentation to Alexander, Michael, and Brian.
Good morning, race fans. It has become a great tradition that on Memorial Day weekend, race fans here in Indianapolis and around the world think of the Indy 500 and who's going to win the Borg Warner Trophy. The Borg Warner Trophy carries the likeness of every winning driver from their very first race in 1911. And I can't wait to see which one of these drivers is going to earn their spot on the trophy tomorrow for the 101st race. We look forward to that race tomorrow in presenting the Borg Warner Trophy in Victory Lane, but today we're recognizing last year's winning driver, Alexander Rossi, and team owners, Michael Andretti and Brian Herta. Last year, Alexander Rossi was the first American rookie to win the Indy 500 since Louis Meyer did it back in 1928. Yes, thank you. You may not know he recorded the single fastest lap of the race on lap 106 when he was running last. But what you probably do remember, and we all talk about, were those last two laps when he had the lead but didn't have a lot of fuel. He trusted Brian, who was in his ear, saying, "Don't pit. You can make it. Just clutch and coast, clutch and coast." He started that last lap with a 20-second lead and took the checkers with only 4.5 seconds to spare. Good luck tomorrow, Alexander. I'm sure your fans would like to see a back-to-back victory. For the owners, last year's win marked Michael's 4th and Brian's 2nd at Indy as owners. It came just a few months after announcing the merger of their teams, and it will be interesting to see what they can do this year with some more time together and a new driver in the stable. So now it's trophy time. The official Borg Warner Trophy has a permanent home here at the track, weighs in at 110 pounds, stands over 5 feet tall, and was recently appraised at over $3.5 million. In 1989, Borg Warner started a new tradition by creating the Baby Borg trophies so the winning drivers and team owners would have something for their trophy case. They are also made of sterling silver, and even though they are a bit smaller, they are personalized, and we feel they're still priceless. This year, in special recognition of winning the 100th running of the Indy 500, we're also presenting Alexander Rossi, with something he requested, a BorgWarner turbocharger of the same design used on his winning car. So please join me in celebrating Alexander Rossi, Michael Andretti, and Brian Herta as they come forward to receive their Baby Borg trophies.
Well, I didn't realize I was giving a speech, so we'll start this off. So first of all, thank you to the Holman George family. Thank you to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and thank you to all of you who are here and everyone that's come out for this entire month that'll be here tomorrow as well for making this race what it is. I mean, we talk about how it's a great spectacle in racing, but that's because of all of you and your continual dedication to this race and this sport, and it's a pleasure, and I think I speak for all of us when I say it's a privilege to be able to go out here and drive and race hard for you guys. So with that, thank you to Michael and Brian. Thank you to my teammates who will kill me if I don't mention them. So Ryan, Marco, not Will, and Fernando and Takuma and Jack this year. So it's been an honor to work with everyone, and we'll go out and try and do it again tomorrow. Thank you.
So next year, maybe he'll prepare a speech, or the winner will prepare a speech. So we kind of throw this at them from time to time. As you know, over the winter, we lost one of our dear friends, Florence Henderson, who'd been a part of this facility, all of this excitement, the racing, the pre-race activities for a number of years. And members of her family are here. I would like to ask them to rise if they would. Members of the Florence Henderson family. We're delighted to have you all here today. And as a way of recognizing them, members of the Holman George family have come up with a special brick that's engraved in their honor. Members of the family will now make that presentation to members of the Florence Henderson family. It truly won't be the same without her here at the Speedway. Special moment. Thank you all for participating in our event this year. Well, the American Dairy Association, a longtime sponsor at the Speedway, will present a trophy to commemorate Alexander Rossi's win last May. And this trophy reminds us of the legacy of the great Louis Meyer, who originated the Indy Milk tradition, as we pointed out back in 1933. And here to make the presentation to Alexander is Deb Osa, our longtime friend from the American Dairy Association of Indiana.
Good morning, everybody. It's always thrilling to be here at the magnificent Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and I thank the Holman George family for their vision and stewardship of this Indiana treasure. Thank you. When legendary race driver Louis Meyer pulled into victory lane at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on Memorial Day in 1933 and asked for a cold glass of buttermilk To quench his thirst after 500 grueling miles, a tradition was born. With his simple request, the late, great Meyer, Indy's first three-time winner, established a tradition that has become an endearing part of Indianapolis lore. Another month of May tradition is our Fastest Rookie Award. And this award goes to the first-year driver in the Indianapolis 500 field who posts the fastest four-lap average speed. We presented the award for the first time 42 years ago. In all that time, only one other Fastest Rookie Award recipient went on to win the Indianapolis 500-mile race in the same year, and that was Juan Pablo Montoya in the year 2000. But in 2016, at the 100th running, it happened again. And so, on behalf of the American Dairy Association Indiana and our 1,050 Hoosier Dairy Farm families who take great care to produce the milk you enjoy every day, as well as the milk that we'll hand over to one of these drivers in Victory Circle tomorrow, it is my great pleasure to present the Louis Meyer Winner's Drink Milk Award to the 2016 Indianapolis 500 champion, Alexander Rossi.
I don't think you'll get him twice. Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Alexander. You want to do it again?
Well, I forgot some things, so I'll take this opportunity to do that. Honda, Firestone, or no, Napa. Also Firestone. It's been an amazing thing to be able to drive on not only tires but cars and equipment that's so well made and dynamic and a joy to drive on. And then also, per James's request, thank you for your inspiration via Brunner, which is our thing that is brunch that turns into dinner. It's pretty great.
He's getting better, guys and gals. Well, now Jostens will present the starters' rings to the 33 drivers who have qualified for this year's Indianapolis 500. And at this time, I would like to introduce Kurt Bruns of Jostens to present the starters' rings to this very elite group. Kurt, thank you very much. And to start the ring presentation ceremony, please welcome the Chevrolet Pace Car driver for this year's event, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Congratulations, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Great to have you here. Okay, gang, I guess you know how this works now. We've done this a couple of times. Drivers, as your name is called, we ask you to step forward, come down to the bottom of the podium over there, and receive your starters' rings. Ready, fans? Riding shotgun on this year's field, starting 33rd in his third Indianapolis 500, driving number 18 is James Davison. We have some terrific rookies in this year's field. One of those will start inside the last row, to check at the middle of the last row. Driving car 40, Zach Veach. It'll be the 6th Indianapolis 500 for this veteran, Sebastian Saavedra. Starting at his 20th Indianapolis 500, he won it in 1996. He has turned 2,897 laps here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Starting 30th, please welcome Buddy Lazier. Starting 29th in this year's event, it's the second time around for Spencer Piggott. Our lady representative for this year's Indianapolis 500, 6th race, starting 28th, Pippa Mann. Starting 27th, another rookie. Driving car 50, it's Jack Harvey. Starting in the 26th position of the 4th Indianapolis 500 for familiar name, Connor Daly. Starting 25th, the 2015 Indianapolis 500 Rookie of the Year. His 3rd race, here's Gabby Chavez. Another former Rookie of the Year. He won his honor in 2013, finished 2nd in last year's race. 5th time around for Carlos Munoz. Starting 23rd, riding in the number 1 machine, 6th Indianapolis 500 for Simon Pagenaud. He finished 3rd last year. He'll start 22nd this time around. It's the 6th event for Joseph Newgarden. Starting 21st, the 4th Indianapolis 500 appearance for Sage Karam. We haven't seen him for a while. The last time here was 2011. He's back. He'll start 20th. His 2nd race, Jay Howard. This guy sat on the pole in 2003, 2007, 2009, 2010. He won it in 2001, 2002, and 2009. 17th time around for Elio Castro Neves. Starting in the 18th position, another former winner. Twice, as a matter of fact, in 2000 and 2015. The 5th race for Juan Pablo Montoya. Starting 17th. He had the pole last year and finished 7th. It's the 6th Indianapolis 500 for Mr. James Hinchcliffe. The mayor would love to speak, but we just don't have time. He finished 5th a year ago. It's his 7th Indianapolis 500. He'll start 16th. Here's Charlie Kimball. In the 15th starting position for tomorrow's race. It's the second time around for Max Chilton. Starting 14th in the number 15 car, the 10th Indianapolis 500 for Graham Rahal. Starting 13th, 3rd Indianapolis 500 for the driver of car 7, Mikhail Elation. He'll start 12th, one of the veterans. 9th race for Oriole Serbia. Starting number 11, a rookie. One of 10 Joneses to race in the 500. Here is Ed Jones. He had a great year last year, led 52 laps. He won it all in 2014. He'll start 10th in his 10th race, Ryan Hunter Ray. Now to row number 3 on the outside. 10th race, runner-up in 2015, 10th last year, his 5th top 10 finish for number 12, Will Power. In the middle of row 3, the 12th Indianapolis 500 with 7 top 10 finishes. Say hello this morning to Marco Andretti. Inside, row 3, 16th Indianapolis 500, pole winner in 05, winner in 2013, 4th a year ago. Here is Tony Kanaan. The outside of row number 2, the 7th 500 for the 2011 500 Rookie of the Year. He finished 6th a year ago. Here is J.R. Hildebrand. Well, it says he's a rookie officially, but he's a 2-time Formula One champion. Starting in the middle of the second row, the rookie Fernando Alonso. Hustling back to his seat. On the inside of row number 2, his 8th Indianapolis 500. This will be the best start for Takuma Sato. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the threesome that will start the field from the very front for tomorrow's race. Outside of row number 1, the winner in 2016, defending champion. Second race. Say hello again to Alexander Rossi. He sat on the pole in 2013, again in 2014, came oh so close this year. In the middle of row one, the 14th attempt for Ed Carpenter. And what a thrill this gentleman gave us last Sunday. It's his 15th race, sat on the pole in 2008, again in 2015, won it all in 2008. He is number one among active drivers in Indianapolis 500 laps led, some 434, 10th all time. He was 8th a year ago. Here is your pole sitter for tomorrow's race. Here is Scott Dixon. How about a big round of applause for all these ladies and gentlemen who will be participating in the 101st running tomorrow. And now it's time to get down to business. I'd like to turn the microphone over to Mr. Brian Barnhart, the race director of the Verizon IndyCar Series, for the final instructions to the drivers prior to the green flag tomorrow. Brian.
Thank you, Jerry. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Holman George family, I'd like to welcome you to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the eve of the 101st running of the greatest spectacle in racing. A special thanks to Mark Miles, Jay Fry, Doug Bowles, Allison Millangton, and the entire staffs of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the Verizon IndyCar Series for their tireless efforts to prepare, organize, and present this amazing race. Before we focus on this year's race, let's take a brief look back one more time to the historic 100th running last year. And what a spectacular event it was in every way. It was the first sellout in Indianapolis Motor Speedway history, and we're proud to inform you that the 100th running just recently received the Sports Business Journal Award as 2016's Event of the Year. The entire month was a perfect reflection of our wonderful history and traditions and a showcase of our incredibly bright future. The Indianapolis 500 has been part of family traditions for generation after generation. Families travel each and every Memorial Day weekend from around the globe to be a part of these festivities. People like Don Smith from Erie, Pennsylvania, who will be attending his 70th Indianapolis 500. Thank you for your loyal support. As we move into the next century of races, let's take a look at what's on our horizon. An article on ESPN.com by Ryan McGee pointed out the great blend between the experienced veterans and the next generation of superstars that we have. In this year's race, we have 10 drivers who are making their 9th or more appearance in the 500, and we have 11 drivers making their 3rd or less start. We have 7 former winners in the field, and for the 18th consecutive year, we have a female in the starting lineup. And we certainly would like to welcome the new owners to the Verizon IndyCar Series, including Michael Shank, Ricardo Juncos, and Mike Harding. The future is bright indeed. Congratulations to each of the 33 drivers in the starting field. We've had a very successful month with thousands of laps in practice, and it will all lead to one of you placing your likeness on the Borg Warner Trophy. But we also need to acknowledge one of your peers who will be missed tomorrow and give a round of applause and our best wishes for a speedy recovery to Sebastian Bourdais. Some highlighted times on the schedule for Sunday. We will open pit lane for team equipment at 6 a.m. Teams can move the race cars in at 9:30. We will grid the race cars on the front straightaway at 10:15 in the morning. There will be a 10-minute engine warm-up at 10:48. ABC Television will join us live at 11 a.m. for their 53rd consecutive year of broadcast of the Indianapolis 500. At 11:30, driver introductions. 11:55, taps, God Bless America, and the national anthem will be played. Drivers will be asked to get in their cars at 12:05, and the traditional start your engine command will be at 12:14. For the start, we will go green fourth time by with 3 parade and 1 pace laps. The pace car speed will increase by 10 miles an hour on each successive lap, starting at 75 the first time around, increasing to 105 mile an hour on the pace lap. Your first parade lap, we ask that you stay in formation of the 11 rows of 3. You can spread out and warm out on your second and third parade laps, but you need to reform and reestablish your grid spacing and formation as you begin the pace lap. The front rows will do this first in the south end of the track, and everyone should be in place by the time they reach the backstretch on the pace lap. The pace car, driven by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, will lead the field through the north end at a steady pace and enter pit lane. Pace car speed should be maintained until just past the pit opening in the attenuator, where Scott and the front row will begin to accelerate for the initial start. The field looks good, the green will be waved, and racing will begin. Spacing and patience are important for a good start. Let's take care of yourself and have a clean, safe start. Restarts will be single file. Pace car lights will go out on the backstretch, and your dash lights will go back on. No tire warming or weaving after the entry to turn 3. Let the pace car get away down the backstretch and be out of play at the pit opening, then maintain at least pace car speed as you approach the acceleration zone in the apex of turn 4. As the leader exits turn 4, the green will be waved and racing will resume. For pit stops, all pit entries will be off of turn 4 unless notified differently via the race control channel. For green flag pit entries, remember to signify your intent to pit as you run down the backstretch. Move toward the white line on the inside. Several drivers doing this yesterday in the Carb Day final practice, and it helps significantly indicate your intention to pit. Stay mid-track at the exit of turn 4 and head to the pit opening. The angled pit entrance line is for reference only, just to help guide you towards the opening. The pit speed limit is 60 miles per hour from entry to exit. The limit cones are clearly marked at both locations. We talked in depth yesterday about lane usage and unsafe releases. Don't blindly send your car out at the conclusion of your stop. Let's make sure we take care of the crew members in pit road. Any speeding, running over of equipment, contact, or other violations are subject to penalty. At pit exit, at the south end of the track, don't cross the middle white line with all 4 wheels. Keeping your left sides on the line is approved, but don't cross the line, as it will be a violation if all 4 go across the line. Under a yellow condition, the pits will be closed. Your pit commit line is about 200 feet prior to the pit opening. If you're inside the pit boundary at the time of the caution, your team will receive an instant message that you're okay to pit. If you don't receive this message, you'll need to proceed through pit lane without stopping and blend out on the south end of the track. Any cars taking required service in a closed pit will take the restart from the back of the field. Additional service in a closed pit will result in additional penalty. Your spotters are located in turns 1 and 3 and can certainly relay and provide great information for you, but don't rely on them to make all your decisions for you. Don't wait for something to happen. Anticipate what's going to happen. Give racing room, share the racetrack. No blocking. Don't move your car in reaction to the movement of a pursuing competitor. Race hard, race clean, race fair. Most of all, be respectful of yourself and your fellow drivers. So now it's time to focus on the race. In qualifying, we saw the fastest laps we've seen in 21 years, with nearly half the field posting 4-lap averages over 230 miles an hour. We have great partners in Verizon and Firestone and a very competitive racing package. We welcome back a familiar name to Indianapolis after a long absence, and it's great to see the return of McLaren. It's been decades since we've had an active Formula One driver participate, and it's been a pleasure to welcome Fernando Alonso to Indianapolis. Fernando, we hope you've enjoyed your month of May and your first oval racing experience. The Verizon IndyCar Series is incredibly competitive. We've had 5 different winners through our first 5 races this year, and our recent history shows we'll expect more of the same here, as this event will come down to the final laps. We've had a lead change in 7 of the last races. 7 of the last 11 races here have had a lead change in the last 5 laps. So who will be next? Who will push their Honda or Chevy-powered car to victory? Will it be one of the veterans such as Tony Kanaan or Elio Castroneves, who are celebrating their 20th year of IndyCar racing? Will it be a legacy victory for Marco Andretti or Graham Rahal? Or will Alexander Rossi be able to defend his victory from his historic May run last year? We have the greatest fans in racing and the grandest stage of them all to showcase the most competitive product in the world. You're the best racers in the world. I wish each of you both Godspeed and success. Take care of each other. Let's have a safe, fast race.
Thank you, Brian Barnhart, race director for the IndyCar Series. Just a side note here, if any of you are preparing to stay for the concerts or go to the concerts later today, a note just given me a few moments ago, because of all the rain activity out there, the concert gates will not open until 2 o'clock this afternoon. I know a lot of you guys have planned on going to the concert gates. Anyway, because of the rain, they're still working on the grounds, and they won't open those gates up until 2 o'clock. All right, drivers have got to head downtown now for the race of the parade floats. And let's hope that the weather will hold up for them, guys. Hey, Alice, thank you very much. How about a big round of applause once again for the field for the 2017 Indianapolis 500. Ladies and gentlemen, that will conclude our drivers' meeting for the year. We thank you very much for joining us today. We hope to see you back here tomorrow. We hope to green shortly after noon. Let's hope for a weather break. Thank you very much for joining us.
The 2017 marks the 100th anniversary of the first year the Indy 500 was suspended because of the war. This year, to commemorate the heroes of our country, I invite you to raise a glass to give our heroes, past and present, a warm toast. A friendly cheers. A Fuzzy's salute.
A salute to our armed forces. Salute.
To freedom.
Hooah.
To all that serve. Salute. Salute. Salute.
Make your toast with the new Fuzzy's Patriotic Limited Edition bottle. And share a Fuzzy's salute with us. $1 from every bottle sold in 2017 will go to supporting military families through the Fisher House Foundation. Available in stores now.